because I didn't hit go live. Did I hit go live?
Well, now we're live.
Okay, then everyone enjoy the
Hello.
Hi everyone. Sorry, I'm still getting used to this at home stuff, so I apologize. Most of the time, I'm just worried about not spilling my drink while I'm walking around. This is our second Flick to Park with our good buddies after the weekend. R2 representing them. They just reviewed Pirates of the Caribbean, the film. We're going to go over the attractions, mainly the ones on my continent. Sorry, just it's the ones that matter the most.
Just North America only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
East
we
Coast
have,
and West Coast.
Besides R2, who has been kind enough to join, we also have two very special guests. We have Joker Voice, who is a former Disney cast member. Please.
Hello.
And we also have Theme Park Casual, a fellow theme park fan over on the West Coast, representing Disneyland's Pirates to his fullest.
Hey, kids.
And I think we can kind of just get started and go quick. I do have some videos queued up. We have a lot of talks, but let's go across and just say like any memories from Pirates, simple from the attraction, things you like. We'll start with theme park since he's got the original ride in his corner. What do you think?
Growing up, it was always one of the highlights of a Disneyland trip. I do remember one time that we hit that one at the very end of the night, and we rode it. I think it was like 4 times right in a row. We just kept asking, can we just stay in the boat? And they said, sure. And so we closed out the night riding Pirates over and over and over again. And I do remember when I was little, I hated the skull just before the drop. That always just freaked me out. But other than that, love the ride. That was the only part that ever freaked me out. But I've ridden that ride my entire life, and I still consider it probably the greatest attraction ever made.
I'll go with Joker Voice, the other guest. Thoughts about the attraction before, thoughts about you working there, like the ride itself.
Okay. First time I ever rode it, I was 5 years old, scared the poop out of me.
So you manned the poop deck?
Yes. Definitely.
Sorry, dad jokes will be part of the stream.
That's fine. That's fine. But yes, I was definitely for a 5-year-old, that was terrifying.
And R2, you have experience on both coasts with the ride?
I do. My first time riding it was in Florida. And I probably was 5. I can't say I remember it too much, other than I'm sure I was a little freaked out. I got scared easily when I was a little kid. But later in life, I actually spent a lot of time in California and got to go to Disney World or Disneyland quite often, and really fell in love with the Disneyland ride. It's just, to me, it's epic. It's one of the most, if not maybe the most iconic ride too that they have. It feels like classic Disney with all the animatronics. So it's my all-time favorite.
Okay. And I only sadly have experience with the Disney World one. My first time I was 18 months. Which I was a youngin' with it, and I don't remember much then. The first time I actually remember was probably around 4. And I just remember my dad being the happiest ever, screaming out loud, "We want the redhead," over and over again. So
that explains a lot.
That was his favorite attraction at Magic Kingdom. Obviously, we'll talk more about some of that history, but glad everyone here has some knowledge of the attraction and fondness for it too, because it's kind of nice. Like you don't want to talk about something you don't like, really. And so now we'll go on a little bit and bring up some history. Let me share this tab quickly if I know how to do it correctly. Bear with me, people. Otherwise, it'll be weird.
Well, while Tom is doing that, we need to ask.
Why is rum gone?
I drink it all.
You drank it all. I saved some. I have it here.
There you go.
It's noon where I am. It's okay, and it's the weekend.
It's 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. in Las Vegas. So bottoms up.
All right, so
Well, that's just a monster, unless you added something to it.
Shh.
I see.
I think okay. So I'm gonna add the tab to stream. I'm doing good for the first time doing this.
No. You're good. So while you're doing that, I mean, I'll kind of go back on the thing too that I think I love about the Disneyland version, especially, is that was really the last kind of full, complete ride that Walt had his hand in making.
Right.
He had a fair amount with the Haunted Mansion, but he had passed a few years after that was completed. But the ride was done when he had passed, so he had gotten to experience the whole thing. And I think that's kind of another thing too, when you kind of knowing that when you ride it is a kind of a cool thing to think about, that Walt got to had a hand in this and rode this before he left us.
Hi, little Spidey.
Yeah, hey, little Spidey. Hey, Mrs. R2. Thank you guys
buddy,
for joining. So I have, if anyone is a big Disney fan, you know what the wonderful world of color is. Back in the day, they used to bring out, and this was the advertisements for Disneyland, right? They were advertising before the park was being made. Well, I have the Pirates of the Caribbean segment. We'll watch some of this, just get the history and stuff like that. It's always nice to go back and check. So let's add that to the stream right now and get that started. Please tell me audio is coming through.
No.
Hi,
Tink.
I did hit share audio. Share audio.
I think the video's muted.
Is it?
No, it's not muted.
Oh, yeah, it is.
No, is it? Not on my end. That's weird.
Oh, there we go.
We'll keep it not full volume though.
Sure.
Yeah, there we go. We can talk over this a little bit while it's playing the intro.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I miss this Disney.
Yeah, this the promotional materials from back in the day, even up into the mid '90s, were so great. I used to love getting, because I'm Vacation Club. My family was Vacation Club. We used to get the DVDs and the VHSs once a year. I wore those things out, planning trips like this. When you get to like a week before or a month before, I would be playing that thing over and over again.
I used to watch the show when I was a kid. The Wonderful World of Disney. Oh yeah. Now does anybody know that at Disneyland the castle is technically backwards?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
When they were mapping it out, the guy was playing with the model and he had it turned the wrong way, and Walt walks by and is like, I like it that way. Stick with that. And he had the back facing the park and the actual front facing Fantasyland.
So I've heard that story, but I've heard it slightly different. So and maybe I'm wrong. I was just going to say, I heard that Walt didn't know it was backwards. Walt had like walked by and went like, that looks great. I love it. And they just went, okay, we're going to have it be backwards because he liked it.
Well, I mean, basically the same story. I was just kind of, who did I hear it from? I heard it from like a, because every now and then at the park there was like an OG, like original cast member or an original person who helped build the park. I remember I was sent up to get Walt's apartment in order one day above. It's the one above the firehouse on Main Street, and it was like an OG, like a relative of Walt, and he was talking about the castle, and that's what he said.
Okay.
Well, that is really cool. And then the one thing we can all agree on, the only thing that probably wasn't as good back then, man, Mickey looks creepy. Like just bringing it out, those original costumes were
like they
Yay,
these costumes
Spidey! Great work.
From when they did. I think it was like was it Snow White? Yeah, Snow White was the first animated movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had people dressed up as Mickey and Minnie, and they are like terrifying.
Yeah. I was going to say that one actually looks good compared to the stuff from like the early for the 50s and stuff.
That was kind of the start of like kind of the Mickey we have now. I feel like that's fairly decent.
So I also think this is a composite right now.
Yeah, that looks like that is.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Which again shows how Disney was ahead of the time back then.
Yeah.
Oh God. I apologize for any haunting visions from this for people. I apologize.
Haunting visions? Why do you say that?
I don't know. I mean, you ever see like the memes of Mickey, like those eyes, like that looks better though. They definitely up close looks a little bit better.
Little Spidey, little.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, JV, man. He was like so thrilled when we were like, "Yeah, we're gonna order you a shirt." He's like, "Sweet,
nice."
So you definitely have a fan with my son.
I have so much to teach you, little one.
Don't listen to anything else he says, buddy. Okay.
So we actually are at the part right now where they are going over New Orleans Square. We have the models
and those costumes of the tour guides, even to the day I left, had not changed. Those like the same original design costumes.
Yeah, and I mean the checkered sweatshirts, plaid vests are a little bit different over here, so they definitely have Disney World has a different aesthetic to it, but you kind of get like a similar vibe. As you can see up in the background on the upper right, you got New Orleans Square. I'm not too familiar, so Joker Voice and Theme Park. How much from the concept art to what is there now has still remained, or has New Orleans Square been kind of left?
It's been it's kind of the same, and not the much has changed.
Yeah, I think the only major construction they did was a few years back. They adjusted some things when they redid Club 33. I think that was the only, and that was, it's not for the everyday visitor.
Right. They made the door they changed the entrance to it. I want to say, and it's now far more noticeable.
Right.
Like you can spot it a lot easier. It's not nearly as secret.
And it sealed off a very wonderful photo spot that many people used to take, engagement photos and family, Christmas photos on the steps. And now that's all sealed off to Club 33 only.
Yeah. And I don't know how much it adjusted by there because it's the rivers of America that go around.
Well, not anymore.
But they shortened it because of Star Wars Land too. But I don't know how much they adjusted in front of New Orleans Square there. I think that was more.
Yeah, they didn't touch that for that.
Yeah, but
because really the where Galaxy's Edge is would be by what used to be Big Thunder Ranch, the outdoor the restaurant. So
that's like near Critter Country and all that, or
that's going the other way.
Okay.
New Orleans Square, where at Disneyland, is right next to Critter Country and right next to Frontierland / Adventureland, and so anything that's on the rivers is really the staging area for the Fantasmic show.
Smooth is going. So are there actually little shops and all those things, or is that there are?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's a at least when I I was there, theme park. You would know more now. There was the let's see, there was the parasols, there was the perfume shop. Are those still there?
I don't know about the perfume shop. I know the parasols are still there, and I think they added I want to say Pandora.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask this question because I actually learned this recently. Were any of you there still when they sold bras inside of Disneyland?
Sold bras?
On Main
No,
Street?
I don't remember that.
That shop
personally.
only lasted actually, I think, like a year or two. But yeah, they did have a lingerie store in
Yeah, the
Disneyland.
Wizard of Bras.
Wow. I did not know that.
I did not know how long that store lasted. I just thought it was hilarious.
When I started there, summer of '89, they still had the tobacco shop on Main Street, and then it got turned into a sports memorabilia, and then got turned into a magic store.
All right. Well, so we see.
Is that the magic store that Steve Martin worked at?
Don't believe so. I don't know.
I think that magic store
Yeah,
was
on
older
Main Street. I take it back. The one that he worked at was on Main Street, but
the only magic shop that I knew was on the Main Street. It was like right next as you're walking down from town square toward the hub. It's next to the first store on your right. God, that was the hat shop, I think.
All right, so for us, where the magic store used to be next to where the watch store, there's a timepiece store, and the magic shop was next to that. So at least in Magic Kingdom, it was a little bit different. You do see the drawing of Blue Bayou in the background, and since they were talking about it, theme park, you said you have eaten there. What do you think about the restaurant? How is the food?
The restaurant? Well, for me, the restaurant is actually as far as an actual the restaurant inside the park. I think it has some of the best food there. It's not a lot of let me just say, for most of the restaurants inside the park, they're basically fast food joints. But this is like an actual sit down menu, the whole nine. So
theme park, your opinion? I don't know if Archie, you haven't been there, so theme park would be the other.
No, I mean, I have floated by it many times going on the ride.
It's decent food. I mean, obviously it's going to be much better than any of the quick service restaurants that you would eat at in the park. I wouldn't put it at, fine dining quality food. It's good food. Right. I used to love the New York steak sandwich that they had there way back when. But what you're paying for is the ambiance, obviously. Right. That's really what they get you. And if you could get a table next to the water, it really is. I mean, it's just a really magical experience when you're sitting there with your family, hanging out. The boats are cruising by, as long as you don't have some, punky teenagers yelling, obscenities at you while you're trying to eat. It's all good.
Well, it's funny you say that you're like, it's not like fine dining or high end, but today lunch and dinner sit at anywhere from $35 to $60 per adult.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's about average for most in-park dining, I would say. You can get better deals, and at least in Disney World side, there are plenty of places you can get some great deals, like $20 buffets, even still on park property. So, I would say the closest thing on our coast to that, we don't have Blue Bayou. We do have the La Hacienda de San Angel in Epcot in the Mexico Pavilion. That's the closest thing. The food I'm probably thinking is probably better at Blue Bayou. Normally, Disneyland is a bit better in general on their food and beverage program compared to Disney World, at least from what I've been told. So we'll get to some character designs, and then we'll start going into the actual ride footage from Theme Park and myself, since this is half an hour long and we don't need to go through the whole thing.
Why is that poor woman dressed like a jockey? That's what I want to know.
That's
But
the-
that and as I said earlier, that costume has pretty much not changed. If you get a guided tour, that is the tour guide costume.
That's a plaid outfit.
Yep.
I think for us now it's plaid tops in Disney World. But-
I know that I know that when they started doing male tour guides, the men had a plaid vest and like blue slacks.
Yeah. Now I want to point this out because this shows you how much care and like detail oriented all the Imagineers and Walt himself was at the time. Everything you see throughout this made it in some way to the attraction. Like each of these things have like storyboard to concept to modeling, everything made it through. There was no blue sky, as you call it now, where things got cut. Like it's pretty much, if it was there, it ended up in the attraction, and that shows you how much he cared about all of this and how much the people working with him at the time, you know, the 7 wise men and all that. And we'll go into the 7 wise men at another time. That's a whole video I want to do separately, probably with Theme Park Casual and maybe some other bigger Disney fans, but that's a different topic. And since we'll finish this segment off, we'll wait for the redhead because she comes up soon. Hey, you gotta. We want the redhead.
Wants the redhead.
We wants the redhead.
I know. One of
Don't
the
tell
things
him, Pedro. Don't say nothing.
I can't think of the person's name right now, but she was very well known Imagineer who specialized in costumes. And when they were doing the costumes for this ride and making all that, without telling anybody or saying anything, she actually made, because they had enough material to do so, she made duplicate costumes. And I want to say there was a time when on the Disneyland ride, I believe there was either a fire or and the sprinklers went off, but it soaked everything, all the costumes, and they were freaked out because they're like, we have to dry all this. We have to clean it and dry it. And she was like, "Oh, I have extras. Nobody knew." And they were like, "Oh, you know, thank God she did it." I cannot think of her name.
She was
You're probably thinking of Alice Davis.
Yeah,
I think that's it. Yeah.
The wife of Mark Davis.
Yes, you're right. That's who it is. I remember reading about that. I forget where I read about that at, but
now some of these models you can actually see. There is an ABT tour, which is Adventures by Disney, that does do the Disney archives. And they're expensive, but if you want to see some of this stuff, that's the only way you will see some of this like history. It's a worth it once in a lifetime type of thing where you get to see a lot of these original marquee setups and costuming and stuff like that, which I really wish at some point they would make more available to the public in a museum quality. Like, just let us see it. But all right, so since we kind of went through the attraction, I'm going to bring up who was nice enough to share his recording of the Disneyland version of the attraction. So let's remove that, and we are going to add Theme Park Casual's wonderfully filmed ride through. Lower the volume a little bit. There you can see Blue Bayou on
Right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the huts, but like the little house, the little houses that would be on your left, that was the inspiration for Calypso's house in the second Pirates film.
okay. I don't think I ever knew that.
Well,
Because-
I
because they
didn't know
look-
they were there.
Because
Yeah,
they
I'm sure they pulled in, they wanted to get the bayou because that's where
Right.
the voodoo
Yeah.
stuff comes from. So it's very similar to what they did here with the bayou.
All right, Phil. Commander Phil. Thank you for stopping in. Sorry, we have a Legion of Memers, fellow Legion of Memers in the chat, and he'll be back in a little bit. So I'm just kind of curious. The Disneyland attraction is a much longer attraction, if I remember correctly, about
Yes.
16 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird. You guys have a shorter Splash Mountain, but a longer Pirates. So we'll just continue through this. Obviously, bring up any differences because I know there's a lot of differences between here and between Disney World and Disneyland, and you guys will know better than me.
I've only seen Disneyland, so I'll leave that to Casual and R2.
Yeah, I don't think Florida has the bayou scene at all, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it does not. We start
No.
in a Caribbean fort.
Yeah, I haven't been on the Disney World version since 2000, so it's been 20 plus years.
It's been 10 years since I've been there. So, but yeah, they don't have.
Where is Lorena Creole, the one we need her?
I think she's live at Universal right now.
Yeah,
Right? I think she is too.
Yeah.
I'll invite her on one of these one day.
Oh, that'd be a blast.
That would be awesome.
so this part is different in Disneyland versus Florida. You're going through brick arches, and it's setting up the talking skull. So this is how Disneyland sets up the ghost story portion.
Who's ever got the rainbow colored lighting there? It almost looks though like you've got ghosts from the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah,
I'm thinking Willy Wonka for a little bit. I don't know why.
yeah, it does look like that too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I have a question. So is the Disneyland one similar to Disney World where you're getting sort of a backwards progression, like you're going from the end of the story to the beginning, or is it different than that?
It's basically set up the same way in that you see the effects of what the pirate life was about, after the drops. I believe in Florida you see the treasure scene before the drop.
Yeah, we start out with the.
You
skeleton.
also get in Disney World you have 2 drops, where Disneyland you have 3.
2.
Disneyland has 2, Florida has 1.
Oh, is it 1? Okay.
Yeah.
I was off by 1.
So, but that's how Disneyland sets up the ghost story. Is you're floating through the bayou, and then you start going into this tunnel of the brick arches, and everything starts to kind of warp, and it's kind of really interesting how it gets pretty dark, and then you start hearing the pirate voice of the avast, there be squirrels ahead and all that kind of stuff going on.
And Davy Jones.
And then Disneyland also kind of recently did an update in the past few years. They kind of did it, I want to say, along with, the updated Redhead now. But they actually do like almost, didn't they get rid of the smoke portion, I want to say? And then there's like a transition where you kind of go down this corridor and there's actually a skeleton pirate. And then when you go past it, it's a living pirate, almost from dead to alive.
Yeah, they copied that. They copied that transition similar to Mystic Manor.
Okay.
They have some scenes over in the other Disneyland parks that I think they copied that effect from.
And I know that since the pirate films have come out, that they've added some of the dialogue from the films inside the attraction as well.
Yeah,
Robert, hi. Sorry. I'm still getting used to this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Continue your thought. Theme park, obviously.
Yeah, they have infused the ride, and your little show here is called Flick to Park, but this one was actually Park to Flick and then back to Park.
Right.
So it's one of the very few attractions that spurred a film, and probably the only one that was truly successful.
Right.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
won't talk about Haunted Mansion right now.
No.
We can continue on with the attraction as we get into the main show elements.
Where's now?
And there be plenty lurking in every corner, waiting to board. Sit closer together.
Just for anybody who has not been on this ride, the ambiance of it is just so good.
Yeah, like I said, this part just freaked me out as a kid.
Right.
Do you guys not
And-
have the photo on the attraction?
No, they don't do a photo on the attraction.
Okay, because
And
our skull is the photo. Like the eyes flash, and that's where you look for the photo op.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, not at Disneyland.
And now, and not only did the attraction add dialogue from the film added dialogue from the attraction. I believe it was in the third film. Dead
Yep.
men tell no tales. Perhaps he knows too much.
Gives me chills when I hear it on the ride. I love it.
So that's drop number 1, the larger
Right.
of the two.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys get 2 drops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Duh.
Actually, no, there is technically 3 on Disneyland because that right before you go into, like the yo ho ho singing and the live pirates, there is a little dip. It's not a very deep drop, but there's a little dip. I'm telling you, there's 3 technically on the ride.
I will tell you before we play the Disney World one, you can actually hear the song a lot more legible. Disney World, the song is so muddled. It could be the speakers are bad, or it's just like a lot of the dialogue. I'm hearing things a lot better from the Disneyland version, so it's a quality of life difference.
So again, this is all set up for the ghost story. So you can see the roots coming through the ceiling there in the caverns. And then you make your second drop, and now the yo-ho song is gone. And now it's just the ominous music, and now you start seeing the skeletons with the swords and all that.
I can smell this ride. I know that sounds funny to say, but I'm like,
Ju-
You can just
not-
smell the mustiness a little bit.
Non-official plug, they're not a sponsor, but Magic Candle Company, a Florida-based company, makes the Pirates of the Caribbean scented candle. That really, you have it. You buy the spray, really?
I bought it. I was gonna say they make it. I can't really say it smells like the ride though.
Okay.
Now I will say their Dole Whip candle is pretty dang good.
Yeah, I've heard that their candles are not meant to replicate the scents from the ride. They're inspired by the rides.
Yeah.
So, try to manage
I don't feel
expectations.
very, very piratey. I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they would just make a bromine scented
candy.
candle, I think everybody would just love it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say the main difference I see is the scenes are actually reversed. So this scene is on the left side of the attraction in Disney World instead of on the right.
Mhm.
Drop number 2. Yeah, this part here freaked me out as a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I got scared of a lot of this stuff too as a kid, and it's funny. My 7-year-old little Spidey, he loves all of this stuff. I mean, he thinks it's the greatest thing in the world, and I'm so glad he never got afraid of anything when we would go visit.
The other thing is none of this is in Disney World. This section right now, none of this. This is the interior of the ship, correct?
Yeah.
It's like representative. So
Right.
it's not, I mean, because obviously you're in a cavern, you're not going through a ship, but it's representative of what would happen on the ships, because in a few seconds we'll see the other side and you'll see the captain's quarters. But a little note, there's always the legend that the woman in the painting here is the redhead that was auctioned off.
Right. I've heard that.
Okay. I did not know that.
And then there's the one, the skeleton like strapped to the wheel, still steering the wheel and the wind blowing.
Right.
Well,
that as a 5-year-old was terrifying.
And then Disneyland, on the captain's bed on the headboard, there is still a real human skull.
Oh, yes.
Because for a long time, the skeletons on the Disneyland ride were real skeletons,
right?
Because they couldn't make fake skeletons back then,
right?
For whatever weird reason, and so like they bought a bunch of cadavers from like UCLA Medical.
Just
yeah,
like
probably just that it was cheaper to buy them.
Yeah, that too, and then I think after their first big renovation of the ride, they did actually switch everything out.
Just like a attraction at Disneyland, they were told, well, that's impossible to build. You can't build that, so that they put half a basketball court in it, and it's labeled as a
Matterhorn
gymnasium. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been in that basketball court?
Yes, I have. It's kind of just like a break room now for the Matterhorn crew.
It's a Nerf hoop with a laundry basket underneath it to collect the ball.
Kind of.
We have another Legion of Memers popping in. Hey, thanks for joining in.
That must be the French version of Alf. Ornay Alf.
Don't tell Mexican Iron Man that.
Why?
He is not a fan of Alf.
He hates Alf. He hates Alf.
I'm like feeling really jealous right now because I don't watch the Disneyland one too much because it makes me feel like jealous, and now I have to watch it and it makes me feel jealous.
Because you should. Because you should be jealous.
This is certainly no knock to Casual here, because we appreciate that he took this video for us. But I can't think of who it is, but there's a few of the big kind of just theme park channels that they just record rides. They don't talk about anything. They just record the rides that have some very nice camera equipment. And they have some low light stuff where it almost looks as close as you can to being on the ride in terms of just the coloring and visuals.
Correct.
Out there.
Yeah.
Too.
So Rogue, why are you even showing this?
Because you were nice enough to share it, and I like.
We're getting your perspective.
What kind of crud footage are you putting on your channel?
My footage is not that much better.
Have you seen Tom's footage?
My footage isn't better. Come on.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, there's lots of channels that have the low light, and they can ride a boat by themselves.
I know. I
so
see
there's
it.
no
I'm like,
noise.
God, I wish I could. I'm like, I want to get that. How much is that? And they're like, oh, it's $10,000. It's like, oh,
yeah.
I'd rather just go to Disneyland.
Yeah,
please support. I'll get there.
Yeah,
because you're gonna pay less. Not much less, but a little less.
And for those people who can't go to the parks too, I mean, there's people who do like the 360 videos that are pretty cool to do with, and if you've got an Oculus or some type of VR, I mean, it is kind of a neat way to
lighting's actually even more important on those because they do have a tendency to have a little bit less quality unless you're using like a Matterpoint camera or something like that.
But there's some people that have some of those too. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I have an Oculus. I've watched a few and I'm like, it does almost feel like you're on the ride. If only this smelled like the ride.
All right, R2, I'm gonna send you a whole bunch of bromine and some sulfur.
Just gonna huff it.
And so right here toward the edge, you'll notice the chest from Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl right there.
That whole scene, though, like the visuals with the treasure and the lighting, I love it.
And so this is where we transition
to
Act 2. And so you've gone through, you've seen the effects of a pirate's life, and now we're being transported back in time to see it firsthand.
That entire dialogue right there is not existent in Disney World.
Wow.
There's no time.
Or
This whole dialogue section is not existent.
Oh yeah, and then there's the octopus there with it too.
Yeah. And this is the transition. This is so that, anybody who didn't understand what was happening, that you're being transported from, the current time with dead pirates to the, back in time to when the pirates were alive. That gives you the visual representation of what's happening now.
So Disney World is more of a, almost like an imitation of Haunted Mansion, where you fall out the window. It's sort of
Right.
more of a sharp, all right, you see the skeletons, and then you're into the live scene. So you lose that story element. You have to fill it in yourself.
Right. I think Florida Pirates is more of a linear, and
Yeah.
Disneyland's is much more of a circular type of a story, so that it's you're traveling back in time, and that's why you can ride it over and over and nothing changes, because you're going back in time to see it.
Yeah.
Whereas Florida kind of gives you a little bit more of a linear story.
I want to say too, when they were, designing this and kind of brainstorming for it, they kind of did the same thing with Haunted Mansion. They considered making them actually be walkthroughs.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm glad that they didn't do that, because I think it.
Likewise.
One, I just, it wouldn't be the same thing. But yeah, they would take you almost on a tour of 24 people at a time.
Right. And this last time that I went on Pirates, the cannon explosions, cannonballs hitting in the water make much bigger splashes now.
Yeah, you get wet from them now.
And then, isn't Barbossa on the ship? Or
Yes,
I feel
Barbossa.
Okay.
Barbossa is now captain.
Okay, there you can hear him.
Yeah.
So quick little thing, just from what R2 said, and what Casual said about these being originally thought to be the walkthrough rides. For what I did at the park, I was on the custodial crew, so whenever we had to clean the line queue areas, we were actually a salmon going upstream. We would be going against the crowd, trying to sweep through stuff. I am glad that these were not walkthroughs, because that was not fun.
And just mad respect to the janitorial crew at Disneyland. Those people are amazing.
Thank you. I am amazing.
Yeah.
Don't tell him, Pedro. Don't say nothing.
I
Carlos.
also think of the
Carlos,
fact that when they, when Walt decided I'm going to do a theme park, and then with the animatronics, how many people that he grabbed to work on it that had no experience in animatronics. Right. I mean, they did it all from the ground up and pioneered a lot of things. I mean, it's just so impressive how talented those Imagineers were, especially in the beginning.
Okay, so this section here, so we can pause this here, Rogue, if you want to. So this is
the most changed.
Right, it's the most changed because originally it was we want the redhead. So funny story, when I worked there, I had some coworkers of mine. Before the park opened, they went into the ride and they were in this specific part, and they took a big wide shot, and so they had the redhead, and then they placed themselves sitting with the pirates, holding like dollar bills and 20s and stuff as they were bidding on the redhead.
I think that's kind of cool. If I were the cast member in that time frame, I would have probably done the same thing. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of like 14, 15-year-olds that were younger probably when that ride came out. They were like, is the redhead a character outside in the park somewhere?
Possibly.
Well, I'm sure there's probably much worse photos taken than just guys, waving dollar bills.
Oh well, that's a story I'll tell later.
Right.
I was gonna say, I mean, I know this scene is very controversial today, and I have nothing against having a female pirate. I just wish if they're gonna add one, add more.
Yeah,
like why they couldn't have had some others throughout the ride.
Right.
It's just very heavy-handed, I feel like, in that moment. And plus, the animatronic is so much better than the others too. It stands out. Like it's
kind of a sore thumb.
Yeah, it does for that reason too. I feel like it kind of like messes with the feel of the ride.
But you also have the fact that every single pirate now that was chasing a woman before is now being chased by the woman. Right. Kind of makes them all seem inept.
Kind of, yeah. So
they should have had
how they take the town.
and others too. Yeah. They should have, they could have changed some of it, but still kept some things like they were before. But yeah, I feel like, if you're going to have women pirates, though, have some more. Like,
so
I don't know, don't just have the one.
So I had heard this. As like, I don't know if it was rumor or anything. I don't know if R2 or Rogue has heard anything about this, or even Casual, that they were going to do a reboot of the Pirates franchise, but have Karen Gillan in the lead role as basically the new Jack Sparrow.
I thought they were saying Margot
Robbie.
Now it's Margot. Now it's Margot. Now
that was the rumor I was hearing, with Margot Robbie to play the Red, REDD.
I think I'd rather see Karen Gillan.
I think Karen Gillan's a better comedic actress. I think.
Well, personally, I hope that doesn't happen for Karen, because I'm still holding out for her to be cast as Mara Jade. That's another topic.
That'll be another episode of this also later on.
Dream casting.
Let's continue on with Pirates.
Okay.
I do think also this Pirate on the Bridge is different. I'm not 100%, but I think in Disney World he's sitting on top of the arch, not standing.
We have another pirate later on who's got his sitting in there and his foot is dangling over.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, gotcha.
Just all like the little voices you hear as you go through the ride, and just it's so many like just classic people that Disney would hire for voices that you hear in like all those cartoons from the 40s to the 60s.
Oh yeah.
One of those guys, I can't think of his name. It's Tony the Tiger. He's got that very deep baritone voice.
Right.
Is it Thurl Ravenscroft?
Yes, and you see him on the Haunted Mansion too. He's one of the singing heads in the graveyard.
Yes.
Yeah, him and Paul Frees just have their voices peppered all over my childhood.
Yeah. And the guy sleeping with the pigs.
That was my favorite one.
Which was also used in a Pirates film. It was Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs.
I like that the animals are even singing along with it in tune.
And what's crazy is, even as a kid, oh my God, everything's on fire. But
Yeah, and
And no one
legend
cares.
legend has it that when the fire marshal was doing their walkthrough, they insisted that if a fire alarm goes off, that this effect has to be instantly connected to it so that it's turned off. Otherwise, it could be difficult for the firefighters to actually figure out where the
Oh,
fire
yeah.
is.
that's interesting.
yeah, because isn't it just right? It's like an orange sheet and a light in
Yeah.
wind, like air blowing.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's like so simplistic and it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, that's my favorite low budget effect that they've ever done.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing about Imagineering at this time, is that since they had so little, anything ever done in a movie or in a thing that is like the simplest form ends up always lasting in
Mhm.
terms of sense of
Mhm.
time. It always ends up looking the best, the longest. And Disney, like, that's why all the classic dark rides are still loved, is because they are the simplest form and the best way to do that.
Right.
If you had Haunted Mansion right now with like 3D projected things and all that, people would hate it.
Well,
They'll
it's
like it for a little
interesting.
bit and it'll be dated.
Well,
Right.
it's interesting because at Disneyland, since you mentioned the mansion, the crystal ball. The last time I went, the face in the crystal ball, how it's done now, I'm like, I like the old effect better. It actually looks better.
Ours is still the original way. I do
Yeah.
know the fact that they fixed the Hatbox Ghost is a good thing though. The fix the effect for him, so that's
Yeah.
great that that's back. Back to Pirates, not Haunted.
And so here we enter Act 3.
Oh, and the
where-
doggies, the doggy.
Yep. Where the pirates are kind of starting to see how the pirates met their end.
But no sea turtles.
And true to form in Disneyland's pirates, it's always backed up at the bottom of the lift.
That I think that's the reason why Disney World probably made sure they didn't have a lift. Did anyone else also like love any Disney dog like Carousel of Progress or
Carousel of Progress. Wow, that is bringing back a memory.
Well, I almost want to say like the dog here and the dog on Carousel of Progress are like the same dog.
Yeah, I think they're modeled after one of the Walt family's actual pet. Like I think they're actually modeled after that. But I like that. They always just look so awesome, like the best pet ever type of deal. And yeah, Carousel of Progress is definitely a throwback because you guys don't have that anymore, correct?
No.
No.
That is
So it's
now,
only in Disney World.
Well, they moved it to Disney World. I want to say it was at Disneyland, and that
Yeah,
actually
well,
got
okay, because
That was a 64 World's Fair.
because all the
America Sings.
yeah,
Replaced
because
it.
America Sings, and then the characters from America Sings got moved into Splash Mountain, and now what was America Sings is now like the Stark. It's now like the Stark Tech place where it's like Avengers and Star Wars like store and props and the whatnot.
Yeah, it was launch bay for a while, and now I don't even think you can go in. It's just like if they do the meet and greets, it's all on the outside.
Gotcha.
So,
which means they're probably planning something.
Yeah, I was going to say there's rumors of an announcement at D23 that there could be a renovation of Tomorrowland, but we shall see.
Well, yeah, because Tomorrowland is kind of Todayland.
That's Tomorrowland pretty much. Well, actually, Tokyo is a little different. But like Tomorrowland everywhere needs to be renovated. All right, so we're good.
Bottleneck.
And we finally get some words from Theme Park in his own video. I'm just gonna ask, how long was the bottleneck for?
I don't even remember. It's usually just a few minutes at the most, but
all right, it feels
feels like forever.
Yeah, It's not as bad as like the Splash Mountain one near the waterfall when the water hitting you on the side.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Done, and you just keep getting more wet.
I hear Jack Sparrow in the background.
Yeah. The scenes are definitely bigger, especially in some of the sections, though. And
There he
yeah,
is.
That and like you kind of can't see it, but oh, there you can in the bottom left. Like I like the fact that they've got like the glowing, you know, the wood like it was on fire.
Yeah,
Embers.
embers.
Yeah, the embers.
Yeah, the effect is different now. I remember when I was little, you could tell it was just like aluminum foil with a red light on it. Now it's actually backlit, you know, properly and done nicely. But
it's like fiber optic lighting.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe it's just me thinking, but like, can't you feel like even like some heat, like it had been on fire too?
In the scenes in Epcot for the burning of Rome, you can. I don't know about for Pirates.
Well, can you feel heat? Or I thought you could smell.
In
smoke,
Epcot,
like
you can
burning.
smell the burning, but I think in Epcot you can also feel it for a little bit.
Okay.
There's like a little bit of a. I think that Pirates used to have it in Disney World. I don't know after.
I mean,
it's so much quicker now. Like they increased the stride time for the show element speed.
I mean the ride itself is kind of humid to start with, so.
Oh, that's the one thing that ours has an advantage since we have no outside segments. It's a little bit colder.
Keely Chow, roll tide, roll tide, my friend.
Keely Chow, thank you for joining us. This is a Flick to Park, our second one. We'll go into a spiel later on, after, in between, for the people that just joined us, because it's new to me. None of this in Disney World. I'm like gonna just drink more.
Yeah, it is one of those rides where if you've only been on the Walt Disney World one and then you go to Disneyland, you're like, you feel robbed.
It's okay. It's okay. I still have Tower of Terror, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like for the most part, majority of the rides that Disneyland had first and then went over to Disney World, the Disneyland, there's something about them that I feel like they're a little bit better.
Jack.
There we go. And they...
Yeah, Tower of Terror in California is now what? Guardians?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mission Breakout.
Yeah.
Well, hey, our Splash Mountain is 4 minutes longer. That's all I'm gonna say.
I was gonna say though, I do feel like the Disney World Haunted Mansion is a lot better.
Yeah, but they have Disneyland gets the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay, which is
right, which is the last time I went was the Jack Skellington overlay.
See, I remember I hadn't been there in a while, and we went on that, and I was like, "The hell is this? I want a Haunted Mansion. I don't want a Nightmare Before Christmas."
Yeah, I liked it when they first did it. Now it's 20-something years later, and it takes up a good 1/3 of the year.
Yeah,
it's too much for me.
I'm sure there are some
you get to go outside
Nightmare Before the Christmas fans that'll be mad at my statement about that, but yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the part where the entrance I was mentioning to you guys earlier, how it's kind of a cheesy queue compared to Florida's Pirates, but it's almost like it's necessary, and it was actually a bold choice for them to leave it like this, as simple, and to have the windows and sunlight coming in, simply because it makes the transition to the dock and the nighttime in the bayou that much more effective.
Yeah.
Because you go within just a few feet, it's glaring sunlight, middle of the day, and then you take a few steps and all of a sudden you're in a bayou at night. And
Gotcha.
it just is so amazing how they do it. It's like right in front of your eyes, they just switch it to nighttime. And it's like, okay, wow, that was magic.
Right. And as you're coming into the unload area if you're coming in, look upper left, there's the crow's nest, which is where the crew sits and they're monitoring the ride and do whatnot. Funny story, during the off times of the park, it gets rented out by groups and whatnot. But toward the end of the school year, a bunch of schools will rent out the park, and they will have what's called a grad night. So they're generally very slow as far as attendance wise, like maybe 25,000 people total are in the park. So there can be times like what Casual said, where you're just going on a ride and you're like, can we go again? Yeah, sure. Well, 3 high school senior age couples the guys decided to fake the Newtons and didn't realize that there are cameras throughout the entire ride. So when they come back to the load unload area, instead of seeing the people helping them in and out of the boat, their crew was up in the crow's nest and they're just applauding them. I tried to keep that as PG as I could.
I feel bad for you having to be a janitor on that night.
Actually, on grad nights, we were not there. That was our graveyard crew that would do all that. So luckily, I never worked at grad
Okay,
nights,
I thought you were going to say on grad nights they just got out a hose.
Just, yeah.
All right. So since we now have just seen, first of all, hello to Dawn.
Hey, Dawn.
Thank you, Dawn.
He is a fan of the channel and also a fan of Park Hoppin', which I also do videos for.
We coined Fig the Newton before the start of the stream.
Yeah, Fig the Newton.
That needs to be a shirt. Now. That needs to be a shirt.
My upcoming merch store will have Fig the Newton on it, and well, that would be there.
Yes,
hopefully before October, so people can wear the Fig the Newton shirts on. It was a good come up.
That is awesome.
So just to share, since I got to be all what I was saying about before during the California part is we do have a photo, the skull, and you can see me there in the background in the little corner. So it is where your scary skull is. Now it's kind of more ultraviolet, and it flashes the eyes, and you get the skeletons in the background. So it's the guy's face in front of me is priceless. Let's just go in here for a second.
Don't look at the camera. This guy has never been on a set before. Don't look at the camera.
I just wanted to share.
I don't know. It seems like somebody escaped at the mental hospital.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you talking about? I know about that. I've escaped plenty.
So I just wanted to share that quickly. It's built into your photo pass. Well, it's actually really cool. It'll send it to your phone.
What about the guy in red there? He looks really disappointed as well.
Yes.
I was talking with him the entire time on the line. Actually, I'm sitting next to his sister. You can't see it right now, but she's sitting next to me. You'll hear me talking in the video.
So Rogue, how does your little friend like the ride?
He actually loves a lot of the rides. He's been on almost everything besides Rock and Roller Coaster. He's he's very ride friendly. He just he gets scared a little bit sometimes, and
Okay.
he almost fell off once on Slinky Dog, and that was kind of funny.
Slinky Dog?
In
Slinky
Toy Story
Dog?
Land. In Toy Story Land.
There's a Toy Story Land?
In Hollywood Studios.
There's a
Alright,
Hollywood
so,
Studios?
do you watch any of my videos, Joker Boy? I go to Disney's Hollywood Studios like once a week.
Disney World? What are you talking about?
Disney World? There's only Disneyland. What are you talking about?
All right, so we're gonna bring up. 1 second, let me get rid of this one.
I mean, last time I saw your channel, you were being attacked now by trees. So
That is for members only. Actually, that will probably go onto a members video when I get memberships. So just to be.
The tree touched me.
You know what? You get to come in and say all that, but just remember.
I set him up. R2 knocks him down. That's his.
Just
I love you, Tom.
remember.
Rogue Disney is here. Hi, Rogue Disney. How are you? I saw you at the meetup. You're awesome.
Oh,
I'm just
Nina.
saying. I'm just saying, like,
Is that the famous YouTuber, Rogue Disney?
I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, I can.
Thank you, Rogue Disney. There you go.
Oh, Rogue Disney's awesome.
So
Why is the rum gone?
that's why I got those thank yous.
Okay. Okay.
But,
hey.
We'll bring up. I uploaded this the other day as a pregame, but we'll do the ride video from here too. I've noticed. Yes, Dawn. Yes, Nina thinks I'm awesome. I only got one person to say that, so you remember that.
Rogue Disney is awesome.
He's awesome.
So this is from my video I recently uploaded yesterday on the channel, doing the overview. Go over some of the merch and all that too. We'll just play it. Let go muted if you watched it already. That way, we can talk over anything. This is more. I know this by heart, so let's go.
We'll do a quick walk over.
Yes, it's hot out and I'm sweating,
You
and
see
I'm
the crystal shop right there.
heavily.
But you can even spot Tortuga Tavern. I don't think Captain Jack will be out yet, but
I'll play that muted. So
I am just gonna say that this right here, this is much more spacious than the Adventureland in Anaheim.
Disney definitely took an idea of walking paths. This is definitely a lot more ADA compliant now.
so I'm gonna enjoy that and head on in.
This is basically around rope drop. It's about
Alright, so for me.
9 something in the morning. It was empty.
All right, better this time. I locked exposure. You still can't. Oh, you can kind of make out the scenescape.
You see low lighting. I don't have the low
kind of
lighting.
A little bit of facts about Splash Mountain. Not Splash Mountain, Pirates. Sorry, still have Splash on the mind.
I was just on
This
Splash.
is kind of the reverse of Haunted Mansion. I don't know if you've heard me say this before, but you start out dead and come back to life. Where in Haunted Mansion, you start out alive and end up dead. Kind of morbid when you think about it that way. But I don't think people notice. You end up in a crypt in a graveyard as a ghost. You jump out a window. That was the only way out. Here, you're living life in reverse. It's like Groundhog Day.
It's a frightening thought.
It's like
Why couldn't
Benjamin
I get-
Button.
Now, I will say...
Why couldn't I get
Disneyland
that
one
day
does
over
really,
and over
really
Yeah.
and over again?
Speaking that you have the going through the Blue Bayou and much longer show elements.
Little Spidey.
I'm sorry.
It was a chocolate frog. How was the chocolate frog? I think you liked it, right?
He did. He thought that was awesome.
So as you can see, there's a lot less story elements for the Disney World version. You're getting right into. You go from the fort and you basically transfer from the fort straight to the cave, so you don't have that build up. So I feel like it's less. There's less anticipation.
Tom, don't lie. We all know you took Casual's video and just flip flopped it. So you
Right,
could be like,
exactly.
See, it's on the other side.
That's all you
I'm
did. Right?
talking. I can put my voice back on if you want. I'm just happy they didn't claim me for it.
Well, they will now. Jeez.
Disney likes
How
me.
many people do you think actually know what cur means right now?
That's a very good question. In the chat, do people know what cur means?
Your little car.
Anyone? There's 5 of you in there. Someone might know.
It's
Dawn, if you're still here, you might know.
It's not a positive term to be used. Definitely not.
No, it's well, it's not the worst.
Google.
That's not the worst thing you can say. I was well.
I guess no one guessed. Rogue,
I mean,
I guess it's on you now. Cheese curds. Yes.
No. It's another term for a dog.
A dog. Okay.
Yeah, like a mutt or unattractive.
You scurvy dog.
Yeah.
Avast your curs.
Yeah. So cur is another meaning for a dog.
Gotcha.
More like a mutt.
Dog. A mongrel.
I gotta appreciate how everything has like this candlelit, like they get the lighting really well.
That's the other thing I noticed between theme parks video. Ours has much more of a red glow, look,
there he is.
I don't think we have the same spotlights for the show elements.
That's kind of a common thing between the two parks, because even I know like an example, Galaxy's Edge is colored differently between the two parks.
Yeah. But especially the show element here.
Forever and always want the redhead, not the rum.
Even the show element here, it looks like an oil painting. It always does. Like the lighting they do, I don't know why, but what?
No, when you said oil painting though, I'm sorry, we were watching The Office the other day, and there's that scene where Michael has a bunch of excuses for Pam to give to his boss when he calls, and one of them's trapped in an oil painting.
Trapped in an oil
painting. That's okay. I did not know that. I've watched more the UK Office than the American one. I'll have to say that.
It almost looks like an oil painting.
The hearty hens. So we're bidding on chickens.
Yeah.
Right.
As you can see, I'm not much better than theme park at this filming this stuff yet either.
Thanks, Rogue.
Wow.
What? I'm trying to give a compliment and
wow, that's it. Wow, and we can mark the last time theme was on a stream with Rogue is.
I will. Did R2 just leave?
I don't know. It looks like it.
Oh, pirates.
All right.
Did he go in the back?
No, he's coming back.
There we go.
Was that?
Wire. Thing went haywire.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Pirates life for me.
Even all these scenes have a very different feel compared to the Disneyland one because of the coloring.
A lot more red, yes.
It's a lot more like a dreamscape almost. I don't know why. I prefer Disneyland's ones actually. Disneyland has a little bit more true tones.
Orange. A little more orange.
I love my little pig guy.
But I almost feel like the majority of people probably have been only on this version.
I would probably agree with that.
More people go to Disney World over Disneyland.
Well, yeah.
And
at least as far as international tourists go.
As a kid, I mean, I was born and grew up, a good chunk of my life in Michigan, and then even we lived in Texas for a bit. But always, when I thought of Disney Park, I only thought of Disney World, and then we moved to California,
And
Going to
I asked
Disneyland
on
the
purpose
first
to
time
show off some of the
when I moved
equipment.
to California and going to Disneyland that first time, I mean, it was like such a weird experience because
See, and I've never been to Disney World. All I know is Disneyland.
yeah. And two, when I heard about Disneyland, it was always like just like, oh, it's like this rinky-dink little park, and
I think before California Adventure.
but I'm just saying,
I think
like that's how it's described a lot of titimes.
Well, I mean, compared
scaling wise,
to,
it's a lot smaller.
I mean, compared to Disney World, yes, because Disneyland is
It's a
kind of
city.
it's
Disney
kind of
World's a city.
landlocked, right? It's
Yeah.
well, not anymore. It's not. So,
Yeah.
but that's another topic.
Another
Well,
topic.
property-wise, though, you know the Florida
Right.
property. I mean, it's the size of San Francisco, so
Right.
um,
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm just saying though, like it's always like, yeah, Disneyland's just a little park in Southern California, and it's I feel like that's always like such a poor description of it, though. I mean, yes, it is smaller, but still, it's a phenomenal park. Like, go visit it if
Right.
if you've never been.
Right. And there was a time when planes were not allowed to fly over the park.
Disney World after 9/11, Disney World was a no-fly zone. Was Disneyland also? I don't know.
Gosh,
Yeah, I think Disneyland is.
Yeah, I
Well-
can't think of
well-
it, but
Disneyland had bought the airspace over the park because Walt did not want any outside thing to disrupt the feel of being in a completely other world.
so I cannot think of the gentleman's name who has the channel, but there was somebody who he flies helicopters. He was taking video, and it kind of at the start of
Yeah, I saw that too.
The
It's
pandemic in 2020, he was though able to go fly over a lot of places that you wouldn't normally. And he did. He goes over the Disney park. He goes over Universal, but it's a really cool sight to see. I'm sure if you look up, helicopter Disneyland, you'll be able to find the guy's channel. But that's a cool video to check out.
Yeah, I don't know if his channel is still called it, but it was Micah Flies.
Yeah,
The
that
name
sounds
of the
very
channel.
familiar. Yeah.
But yeah, those were cool. He was so excited to be able to be doing it because normally, yeah, it was restricted, and he finally was able to go over it, and he was just the whole time he's flying, he's like, "This is so cool! Look at that! That's Disneyland."
Yeah, because he does a lot of firework videos too when they're shooting the fireworks off at night.
Now
in
that
LA, yeah.
Now that can be fun. There was a couple nights when I was when I first started working there, because they launched those things not too far, like right behind It's a Small World, and the one night there was a low blow, and some of the mortar and the fallout came into the park itself, so people were getting hit with stuff.
Yeah, I've been there on nights where the wind is blowing into the park, and yeah, you're having the ash raining down on you.
Yeah, that happens. I'll go through quickly. I'm going to mute this section. This is going over the merch since.
And speaking of the fireworks, one of the dumbest questions I was ever asked as a cast member was if I knew where. If I was asked if I knew where the fireworks were going to be, and my answer was always, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say the sky.
So here we have, actually, some of these are newly brought back. They didn't have the Jack Sparrow kids costume for a while, about 2 years. So it's actually kind of nice that some of this stuff is making way back. And actually, the Pirates merch is some of the lower priced in the park for some reason, at least in Disney World. More around the $20 range instead of $30, which is kind of nice. Mostly everything else has gone up to 30 or 40. So in terms of being a little bit more friendly to the wallet.
I know that the old pistols that they used to sell are worth quite a bit of money these days.
Yeah, the iron,
they are, because I have like 5 of them.
I think
Iron
they
Arrow?
need to be from like the 80s or older. Maybe the early 90s, but yeah, they're definitely fairly old versions of them.
Yeah, I bought that hat. Yeah, it was only $20.
Is that the hat you're wearing right now?
I was like,
Zort needs a little hat like that. I feel like.
Yeah,
That's his name, Zort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, Zort.
He says hi.
Okay.
But
now, this is also not just for the Pirates film or the ride. This is also encompasses like Captain Hook and that other
actually no. This store is all of the attraction now. There's not much movie merchandise or Peter Pan or Captain Hook. I have to find that shirt in my size. It's brand new.
It almost looks like Duck Dynasty there.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Right.
But they have come up with more interesting.
It wasn't because those swords look like there was a Disney Channel cartoon of a kid pirate. I'm trying to remember if that was.
There was a Disney Channel Disney Junior pirate show based around Peter Pan. That was not Peter Pan. Like it was pirates set in Peter Pan time, but they were kid pirates.
Okay.
I know my nephews watched them.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was like
the Jake and the Neverland.
Jake and the Neverland.
Yes, that's it right there.
I almost said Jack, but yeah, Jake. That's
Jack.
It.
Oh, Jack. There he is. Oh wait, we can hear this.
Actually, there's a guy out here who cosplays Jack. Spot on.
It helps me, keeps me sane in here. Yeah, I can't have too much rum because the rum's almost all gone.
They have 2 Jack Sparrows. The other one's a lot better. No offense to this one.
No,
right.
No, I'm complimenting your liver.
Now I think Disneyland also has red going around too in the parks, correct? Theme park.
Yeah, they do have red.
Okay.
All right, I'll take
so.
60. That's not that bad. And after all, 40 is more than 40 more than that. Yes, that's good math.
So we can leave this here on him talking. So we have gone now through both attractions. For theme park, you have done Disney World, correct or no?
Yes, I've been to Disney World.
So Joker Voice, in your comparison, since you're the only one that has only done Disneyland, what do you see show elements wise? Where is there anything where Disney World did slightly better, or do you think that Disneyland is completely the top there?
Well, Disneyland is a complete story. I mean, you've got elements in Disney World that just aren't there, and this is what I'm used to. So if I was to go to having not seen any of this, and if I went to Disney World and went on the Pirates ride, I'd be like, Disneyland is a better ride.
All right, so theme park and R2, you have done both. Any show elements that you think might be better on one side? Anything that, what would you take from Disney World's, or what amalgam do you think would be better? Like, do you think the exterior queue, the way you go through the fort in Disneyland and Disney World, is a little bit more, just curious?
I would take the queue and put it on Disneyland, though. As much as Casual made a really good point of, it's very simple, and there's a kind of that transition from real world to imagination back to the real world. I still like the immersive queue that you do get to walk through. I mean, it's a cool feeling, but that's really the only big difference I think I would do if I could do anything.
Yeah, I've got to say Disneyland's is about as perfect as it's going to get. I don't know if there's anything that you can pull from Florida that would add to Disneyland's. If, like I said, I think I mentioned to you guys before we got on, there's a blog called Passport to Dreams Old and New that does an incredible breakdown of both Disneyland Pirates and the Florida version. And the way they break it down, you just start to see how, even though most of the decisions were probably not done intentionally, that the decisions made work as a complete package when you look at it.
Out of curiosity, just asking, when you exit the attraction, is there a similar shop setup? Is there a market, or is it more of?
I believe it's called the Pieces of Eight. Is the
Yeah,
shop
it's
you
Pieces
walk-
of Eight, but you're not like dumped into it. It's like off to the side. You come out between the
Right.
entrance for Blue Bayou and the Pieces of Eight.
Correct.
And, you know, it's just got an opening that you can walk into. You're not actually in the shop when you exit.
Right.
And just to be fair, New Orleans Square versus Adventureland would be a little bit of a hard comparison, since I think New Orleans Square you have Haunted Mansion and Pirates.
Correct.
So that's like
Correct.
you're putting two iconic attractions together. Where I guess you have the same thing over in Disney World. You have Jungle Cruise, Tiki, and Pirates all in Adventureland. But I'm curious, general land in whole New Orleans.
Well, Adventureland now you've got Tiki Room, Jungle Cruise, and Indiana Jones.
Well, no, I'm talking about where Pirates is situated versus kind of two different sections. So like New Orleans Square, you have the two attractions, I believe, just the two, right?
Yes.
Haunted and Pirates.
Correct.
All right, I'm just general thoughts about the theming connected to the attractions, like the walk up, everything like that. So walking up to Jungle Cruise, to Pirates in Disneyland versus walking up to Pirates in Disney World. Do you think there's any like any more anticipation built up on that?
So for me, I'm just going back to when the days that I worked there, and in my last couple of years, I was my shift started like before the park opened, so I got to just walk where there's no guests or anything, and as I'm walking into New Orleans Square, because our custodial lockers was right next to the exit of the mansion. So I'm walking along, and there's the Riverbell Terrace, and then there's the entrance to Adventureland, in Indiana Jones, the Pirate Bridge. Just seeing New Orleans Square, you're walking into another time of just in a real world transition to like the time, like the time frame where these films now were set, and it really just nails that home, because it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like when you're walking into Critter Country like you're walking into a cartoon. This feels like it's an actual real place.
Theme park.
When you look at it, the way I like to describe it, the difference between Disney World and Disneyland always felt natural to me, where Disney World always feels plastic. And it's an interesting...
Shots fired.
Yeah, but it's not to knock Disney World. I mean, that's just how it was. You know, Disney World had the luxury of coming into something that was established as, you know, it's going to be a profit center. Whereas Disneyland, it was, you know, we're taking a chance with this. And, you know, and it was, you know, almost 20 years difference between when they were developed. And Disneyland currently is shifting more toward that, you know, as they create more new areas, they have that same kind of new feel. So you kind of lose some of that. But when it comes to Pirates, because they're in two different lands, they have to be two different entities at that point, especially the marquees. So with Pirates in Adventureland, it makes sense and it works because you're dealing with a different crowd for the most part. You've got a lot more international tourists, so it has to be more overt in what it's trying to describe and what you're going to be anticipating with that ride. Whereas Disneyland, it's in New Orleans Square, so it's got the romance and the kind of mystery that comes with New Orleans and everything that's embodied there. And it works for that ride, again, because you walk into basically, you know, kind of like a stately looking building, and next thing you know, the magic trick happens and you're outside in a bayou. and then through the bayou, you are pulled into this surreal area and cast into a ghost story. Which again goes with the whole bayou thing, with the whole voodoo and all of that kind of stuff. So the supernatural, all these elements are compounding on each other to create, like I said, the greatest theme park attraction that's ever been made.
That was absolutely beautiful. I've never.
I think people might disagree and put Haunted Mansion above, possibly. Like those.
I was actually talking with some coworkers, and you know, we were talking about, you know, what's the best ride, and
Star
I
Tours.
said it's Pirates, because when you line up any other attraction up against Pirates, and you have to say one of them has to be removed from history, which one has the biggest impact that would, you know, cause a ripple effect after it? And Pirates is the one that if you remove it from history, it shifts everything in the themed industry after that.
Okay.
That's how I view it. I view it as Pirates is the epitome because of, you know, everything that's involved, you know, from ride system to technology to story, you know, telling. It's a full package. And any other ride, there's other elements that are weaker than they are in Pirates. So yeah, I believe that Disneyland Pirates of the Caribbean is the epitome that every other attraction strives to be, and none have quite nailed it yet.
Wow.
Very bold statement. And until I have ridden it myself, I am jealous of it. I don't know if I can give it that high of a praise yet. But R2, any final thoughts yourself?
You know, I agree with some of what Casual said there. Not necessarily disagree, but like the difference I feel like with, you know, I don't necessarily feel like Disney World is plastic, but the big difference is Disneyland, they had planned it, but they had limited, you know, space. So they really had to take everything that they had and just make it as best as possible. And it is, you know, being a smaller, it's definitely more cozier, but I feel like that gives more atmosphere. Especially as you're going through not only New Orleans, but even like Adventureland over there and everything else, where Disney World, they went, okay, here's all the things that we hate that we can't do at Disneyland. Let's make sure we don't have that here. And they bought all this land, and they give that area so much space. It's very wide open. And, you know, kind of walking up to the ride right before you get into the queue, it's very weird compared to the two, because it's just like this wide open stall you walk into. You know, at least on like the outside, it's not very immersive. You just kind of, you feel like you're in a theme park. That's all I got to say. Where, you know, yeah, Disneyland, you know, there is that atmosphere of the New Orleans Square feel of everything and the look of it. So I feel like that does help with it. And, you know, in comparison, you just really can't compare to the Disneyland version. I do feel, for me, though, like Disney has certain types of rides that are iconic. And I feel like for like the kind of more, I feel like mature ride is like a bad word, because Disneyland's for everybody, but you know, it's one of the more grown up rides there though. But like you kind of can't beat that. I mean, every ride should be like Pirates of the Caribbean, and unfortunately they're not all that way. And I wish more were. I mean, I wish more of them were far more practical. But yeah, no, it's to me, it definitely is the ultimate Disney ride.
It just screams. It just says Disneyland or Disney or
it does. I would Disney. Almost say maybe the next closest to that. And you know, anybody can disagree with me on it. I'm just saying though, in terms of that kind of feel, would be like Spaceship Earth though. You know, has got all those animatronics. Spaceship Earth, Epcot, the golf ball, the ride inside the big golf ball.
Spaceship Earth?
He's never been there, but I'm just saying, it's.
They went there in Roseanne.
it's a ride there full of animatronics. You know.
Okay, so because
it's telling a story.
It's going to the story of communication.
Yeah.
Okay,
so you start out with caveman drawings, go to papyrus, go up that way.
Because I would say, as far as Disneyland goes, the other most iconic and just screams Disney is Small World.
Small World.
Yeah.
There are attractions. I'm assuming that like Pirates is one of them, and Haunted Mansion, Small World, stuff like that. That if Disney said, "Oh, we're just going to get rid of it," you would have the largest amount of people yelling.
As much dislike as people have for It's a Small World.
Right. That's not going anywhere.
You can't get rid of that ride, though.
No.
And to be fair about the Disney World's Pirates for 1 second, remember it was an afterthought because they wanted to do a Western boat ride. So that's one of the reasons why some of the show elements are shorter. I'm just saying it was like, hey, we need an attraction. A lot of people are coming. Let's put Pirates in it.
Everybody asked, though. They were like, where is Pirates at? You know, and they didn't really think about putting that in there. They didn't think that, you know, people would have cared. And it was more of a, you know,
dude,
how can you have a East Coast Disney without
not have which
again proves Casual's point of it's the iconic Disney ride.
Right.
Yeah.
And also explains now why you have mirrored Galaxy Edges on either side, because they learned their lesson way back when.
Right.
So,
although I would say when it comes to that kind of thing, I would prefer that they don't mirror stuff. I would prefer it would have been actually really cool if they would have done a different planet on each coast.
Okay.
Well,
have, some similar elements, but I really think they missed the
but you
the
got
mark
the
on
people
that
who
one.
made that come from the participation trophy.
I totally understand the politics of it.
It's got to be even.
We will have a Galaxy's Edge episode of this, no doubt, with whenever this guy decides to review any of the
I've never been to Galaxy's Edge.
No, but I'm saying for the Star Wars movies. Like when we do the Star Wars films, we'll definitely talk Star Tours and Galaxy's Edge. Those will come up in a future episode.
I can already tell you this: we probably will do Indiana Jones before we do Star Wars. Coming up with
all right,
our planning.
Then theme park and Joker voice will be helpful for that because I have not been on that ride yet, and I can do the. I've
been on a similar ride though. You've been on Dinosaur.
I have the stunt show, and I've gotten to be in the stunt show. So that's
okay. Indiana Jones is an amazing attraction, from the queue line to the ride itself, just the way it works. And I was there. I was one of the first people to ride it because they would let cast members.
Did you throw a dollar bill at the animatronic Harrison Ford?
Of course I did.
No, Joker voice was the guy who fell off through the rocks. Like he was the indie that fell through. That's why it's not there anymore.
We'll see now. They had so many bugs in that thing that at least twice a day when it was first opened up to the public, it would break down at least twice a day because there was a computer system for the front end of the Jeep, a different computer system for the back end of the Jeep, and they didn't talk to each other. So
it was the 90s version of Rise of the Resistance.
Basically,
Rise of the Resistance is a Wi-Fi issue, but
now there was also in Indy that big snake. If ever that thing broke down, it would leak hydraulic fluid everywhere.
Please tell me the hydraulic fluid was red like Abraham Lincoln.
Sure. Why not?
I'm waiting for Joker voice to pick up a vial and be like, I kept some, see?
Yeah.
No.
Well, we're getting off topic, and we have been here for an hour and 40 minutes.
I'll have to say too, on that queue, when there's the piece of bamboo that you can shake. Now
don't go shaking your bamboo there.
Now suddenly though, I could hear like when you shake it because somebody yells at you, I could hear Joker's voice now be like, "Hey, you damn kids!
Hey there! What do you think you're doing?"
Oh. I want to let everyone give their outs and tell everyone what you're doing next. So we'll start off with Theme Park Casual. What do you have coming up?
Well, I'm working on a video where I got to visit a home in Orange County, California that built a model Disneyland in their backyard with model trains. So it's got scale, Sleeping Beauty Castle, Splash Mountain, stuff like that. And I'm working on that video. But you can also find me on Twitter at Theme Park Casual, where we have theme park thoughts, news, and discussion for the casual visitor from a former theme park commando.
Joker Voice?
Well, you can find me at Joker Voice, and I just dropped a video this morning talking about the wrapping up San Diego Comic-Con and how the presentation from DC, as far as their films go, they get the win over Marvel in my book. And then I'm working on something for Wednesday on my normal Wednesday spot. Came across a couple articles that have chapped my hide, so I've got to talk about them, and probably some folks are not going to like my opinions on that either. So, but I'm used to it, so it's all good.
And R2, a good buddy from After the Weekend, what do you have coming up planned?
So we have nothing this Monday. Everybody's kind of has some stuff going on, but next Monday, it'll at least be JT and I. And I believe we're going to be reviewing Rockadoodle, if anybody remembers that cartoon from the early 90s.
Wow.
I think you can watch it for free, actually, on YouTube and Tubi.
Yep.
I almost thought you were about to say Rocketeer, and I was about to get really excited.
We actually already did The Rocketeer.
I love that film.
I know. I love that movie, too. That's why we did it. I do want to mention, though, anybody in the chat, anybody watches this video, please go over to Theme Park Casual's channel. He is at 74 subs, and
Yes.
I'd love to get him to 100, as well as Mr. Joker Voice is pretty close to 250, so same thing.
Yes,
Go check
I'm at
out
242.
Yeah,
right now.
go over there.
Everyone's channels is in the description. Please
Yes.
go to subscribe to them. They are wonderful people. Theme
Well,
Park
thank you.
is. I appreciate Theme Park's not intake, but views on everything over in California. He's definitely got a level head in terms to the park. Little biased, but so are all the other Disneyland people. They are.
It's because Disneyland's better.
And with that, I will say normal thing. Don't be afraid to be the fool and have fun. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Next one will be coming sometime in September-ish, maybe. I think September, October, once we figure out what we're going to do. But later, and bye.
Thanks, Tom.
Toodles.
Bye.